Hello, hello. Welcome to Chef Tip Tuesday with Chef Veronica. Had to take the show on the road again this Tuesday. Oh, let me take out my retainers. Hold on. Forgot I had them on. Paid a lot of money to get these teeth straight again. So I definitely want to make sure that I keep them, do my part to keep my teeth in my head and to keep them straight. Hey, Barbara. Welcome to the Chef Tip Tuesday. Glad you're here. We're going to go ahead and get started in about 30 seconds. Welcome, welcome. I want to thank you. Hey, Maceo. Welcome to the Chef Tip Tuesday. I think this is my first time. I know you watch them, but I think this is my first time seeing you tune in. But once I get started, I can't even see who's there. So I apologize to anyone who I don't call out your name, because once I get started talking, I don't see it till I go back and check and see my messages. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hey, Tony, I want to hit on a few things. Just so many things just come up for anyone out there that's a business owner, anyone out there that's looking to get into business. One thing I want to share with you and tell you that you should always be open. Never think that you know everything and that you can't improve your skill, your craft, improve your business, know where you're going, because sometimes you're so close to the situation that you can't even see it. And sometimes when you're doing something for so long, it just becomes a habit and you may miss it. So when people bring those things to you, make sure you look at it and evaluate it and see if it applies to you. Don't just reject it because I know this is my business and I know how to run it and all that. Don't do that, because that will stunt your growth and keep you from moving forward in business. The other thing I want to share is being in business. What I've always done is I don't do it as much as I used to in the beginning. My husband and I would sit down and we would talk about the event and see what could we have done to have made the event even better, because our thing is always perfecting and making Where the Heart is a state-of-the-art company. And I know by us doing that, hey, Janine, we have to really self-evaluate and know that there's always room for growth. And as my pastor always tell us, she was like, always be looking for the best. Always be looking for something that's better than what you already have. So I want to hit on one thing for sure about these food pans that you have caterers and chefs that are using out here doing events. At some point, and I get it, trust me, I get it, but at some point you have to be looking to swap out those pans, because if you want to keep your items clean and always have it presentable, what you want to do is always be cleaning. Always be, even so, for example, if you have a food pan and you're making a dish that has to go into the oven, you want to make sure if food splash up on that pan before you put it in the oven, don't just put it in the oven. Get a napkin, wipe that food off, because if you don't wipe it off, the food is going to bake into the pan. You're going to get a discoloration on the pan. So when you use it again, that mark is going to be there. Now, I know you may be looking at that and you may say, hey, that's kind of petty. But if it's petty, it's petty. But when you talk about presentation, that's going to separate you from other companies out here. The other day I was doing a dish and I looked at the pan. I was like, oh, wow. This pan has food baked in it on, where even though we had cleaned it and it wasn't raised up, but the spot was there. And I told my husband, I said, go get another pan. I'm not using that pan. We can throw that pan out. And so I made a mental note, okay, I need to buy some more food pans, even though I have another 25. But if I get rid of 5, I'm going to swap it out and I'm going to get another pan to replace that, so I can always have the quantity that I need just in case I have 2 or 3 events in one day. The other thing, if you're putting on chair covers, if you see little pinholes in those chair covers, get rid of them because a pinhole become a major hole. And I've heard decorators say, "Oh, don't nobody pay attention to that. They ain't gonna see that." But what if they do? And you always want to give your best. People are paying you for a service. They're paying you to be the expert. They're paying you to be their eyes. So if it's holes in the chair cover, the little pinholes, my staff know. They be like, "Hey, Veronica, it's a hole in this chair cover." I say, throw it on the floor. Don't even mix it in with nothing else. Throw it on the floor so we know that it's going into the garbage. And I would use that stuff to cushion my centerpieces and things in boxes, but I stopped doing that because when you wash that stuff, they'll mess around and get tangled up in your regular stuff, and you end up sorting through them once again. The other thing, go back. Don't despise the small things. We do things all the time, and sometimes we get caught up and just forget about going back to the basics. So I'll give you an example. On Saturday, we had two events. We set up for the one event on Friday. We prepared the food on Saturday and had it delivered. And then we had a whole event where we decorated, we catered, and everything. So, needless to say, my feet were on fire. And when I say on fire, they were on fire. And I was like, oh my goodness, I had put some Arnicare on them before I left and everything. Had on the best shoes that I could have on. Feet were still hurting. And one of my workers, Sherelle, she said, hey, you might want to think, she's so soft-spoken, I love her. She said, you might want to think about getting some compression hosiery. And I thought, oh, wow. I used to wear compression hosiery. I used to do promotions for a company that sold compression hosiery. I have them. Don't know where they are. But I've had them and have them. So what I did, I went right online, right to Amazon, and I purchased me some more, and I actually got my staff some because that was one of those things that I used to do that I actually forget about doing because, you just get caught up in doing things and you forget about the little things. So when those things come back to you, definitely move on those things because one thing about it, if you're in pain, yes, you can push through and continue to work, but you want to take care of your body. We get one body. And I asked myself this question when I was on my way to approaching 50. And it was during the pandemic. I was approaching 50, and I just had a talk with myself. And I said, what are you going to do these 50 years that you didn't do the last 50 years? And the thing that came to me was one thing is I'm going to take care of this body that I have. I'm going to give my body the proper nutrients that it needs in order to thrive. So taking care of my feet is one thing. My feet have to carry this body around, so I have to make sure that I maintain taking care of my feet. I came across a post. I don't even know where the post was, who page it was, but the question was, if you're using flour for a dish, do you season the meat? Do you season the flour, or do you season both? And me personally, I say season both of them. I would season the flour with seasonings that are salt free, because you want to be mindful of that. You don't want to have a salty dish to the point where people can't even enjoy it, because it can happen. But if you make those little minor tweaks and be mindful of those things, you'll definitely be ahead of the game. So just to recap, and even though it seems as if I'm talking to caterers and chefs and people that are in business today, I'm actually talking to everyone, because if you have a pan at your house, I'm going back to that pan, because if you have a pan at your home, and it's one, let's just say it's a pan that you really love, you've had it for about 15 years, 20 years, maybe 5 years, whatever the case, but you really like that pan, you really like that dish, you want to take care of that dish too. So if it's some food get up around the sides of it, wipe the food off before you put it into the oven, because it's definitely going to bake into the pan, and it's gonna leave a discoloration on your pan. So that's really my chef tip for today. But it just keep on popping up, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. So when you are cooking salmon, salmon. If you have a salmon fillet, even if you have a whole piece, if you have a small piece, on the back of it, it's this little thin brown line running through the back. That's actually called the bloodline. That is always supposed to face down in the pan. So if you're doing serving that salmon, the brown strip is supposed to face down in the pan. It doesn't supposed to be faced up. That's just a little presentation tidbit. So I want to thank you all for tuning in and following me on this journey with Chef Tip Tuesday. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really glad to see you all going with us. Just keep an eye on us. We're getting ready to be doing some other things. So with that being said, I'll see you all next Tuesday, and thank you for tuning in.